Governor Martinez signed legislation to close up the budget shortfall for the fiscal year last year, but lawmakers have tough financial decisions ahead as they look forward. Our correspondent, Gwyneth Dolan, went to the Roundhouse this week to get some insight into how taxes are being part of the budgeting process. The story is part of our People, Power, and Democracy coverage.
Representative Harper, everyone in New Mexico complains about our tax system. How bad is it really?
So our tax system in several ways is good. Our property tax is rated #1 in the nation. Our income tax is pretty good. We're making our corporate income tax better. The big problem with our tax code is our gross receipts tax. It is a complete disaster. In 2008, 2009, Ernst & Young did a study looking at all of the states in the US, plopping 10 virtual businesses into those states and seeing how did they perform. The very sad news is New Mexico wasn't 50th, it was 51st, dead last. The study included the District of Columbia.
If it's so bad, how did we get here?
So it took some time to get here. Our gross receipts tax system was put into place in the late 60s. And you fast forward to today, the economy is very different. And also over time, especially the last 2 decades, we've added several exemptions, deductions, credits, loopholes. The joke is if you have a friend in Santa Fe or can hire a lobbyist, you don't pay gross receipts tax. And so right now our tax code looks like a block of Swiss cheese. All the loopholes in it. Yeah, what a mess.
So what do you want to do to fix it?
So sticking with the Swiss cheese analogy, what we're proposing to do is take that block of Swiss cheese, put it in the oven, and melt it down. We're going to remove these loopholes and use that to broaden the base, and then use that to lower the rate. And our calculations show that we can roughly cut the existing gross receipts tax, our sales tax, by about half by doing that.
Okay, so if everyone who has a friend in Santa Fe already got an exemption here, aren't all those people going to fight you on this?
Yes, we've been jokingly calling this the Full Lobbyist Employment Act. I'm sure the room will be full of lobbyists who have fought for these exemptions, deductions, and credits, fighting against the bill. But the truth is we're at the point now where it just can't go on. You have small businesses who are shouldering more of their fair share of this, and other businesses that aren't contributing to roads and schools. And I think it's just better for everyone that we have a very low, broad rate that everyone contributes to. And in that way, we also help create jobs because we know that the small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And if we can provide them some relief, we all need jobs, right? Also, we're one of only 2 states that really has a gross receipts tax, and that scares away many businesses. We're moving towards more of a hybrid retail sales and gross receipts. And so we're hoping that will spur some people to look at New Mexico seriously and come here and help us, grow our economy.
Kelly O'Donnell, we were talking earlier with Representative Jason Harper about a plan that he's been working on that would broaden the tax base and lower the rate. What do you think about that idea generally?
I think the idea of broadening the gross receipts tax base in order to reduce the rate is a really good idea. I think it's beneficial to the state, it's beneficial to business, and it's beneficial to households. So I think that's an excellent idea.
Now, part of the package that he's talking about would bring back the sales tax on food, and that's not very popular.
It's not very popular, but it makes very good sense. The reality is that the broader the tax base is, the lower the rate can be, and that benefits everybody. In addition, if you look at household budgets, although a tax on food is indeed regressive, meaning it takes more income from a lower income household, if you exempt food from tax, people like me, who spend a whole lot of money at Whole Foods, don't have to pay tax on our food when in fact we really could afford to. So you lose a lot of money in order to confer a relatively small benefit. What you can do to lessen the burden of the gross receipts tax on food on low-income households is to increase the size of the personal income tax refund that low-income households get at the end of the year. One thing to keep in mind is that the Earned Income Tax Credit, that's a federal tax credit, has been the single most effective anti-poverty strategy ever implemented in the history of the United States. And many, many low-income households avail themselves of it. So people are filing their taxes anyway. New Mexico Mexico, we are doubly fortunate in that we have a set of personal income tax rebates that applies to the non-working low-income people as well, including the elderly and the disabled and people who can't work. And so we can effectively reduce the burden of the food tax on low-income households through the personal income tax system. And that is historically how we did it before we removed the tax on food.
A lot of the debate up here is cut spending or raise taxes in order to solve a budget crisis. Can we cut our way out of this?
Absolutely not. Further budget cuts, particularly in the key areas where we're hearing about cuts, public education, health care for children, early childhood education, those areas are absolutely critical to the economic health of this state. If we cut them further, they're already inadequate. If we cut them further, the economic damage will be immediate, but it will also be long-lasting. We will basically cut the legs out from under the state economy. The only solution is to focus on a tax policy that emphasizes adequacy, enough revenue to fund critical state and local services, and to balance that with equitable policies on the personal income tax side. The more cuts we make, the worse we damage New Mexico's economy and the greater hardship we pose on New Mexico households and businesses. We are at a critical point. We cannot afford to continue to undermine state services without suffering really long-lasting repercussions. And the solution to that problem is tax policy that adequately funds the critical functions of government, but is not unduly burdensome to low-income households, and accomplishes that through a state personal income tax system that is highly progressive, meaning it really protects the lowest income and most vulnerable families.
The situation that you're describing here is really dysfunctional. How did we get here?
We got here through a series of poorly thought out, politically motivated tax cuts that began 15 years ago or so. This is a bipartisan issue. Cutting taxes in order to win popularity without consideration for the future ramifications in terms of budget is bipartisan. Everybody has done it consistently. And what we need now is to have the courage to rescind some of those tax cuts, to risk the criticism that might come with that, in order to create a revenue system that can actually fund state services and benefit the public in the long run.